Hey guys, welcome back to Vinceville Custom. So today I'm sharing with you a 1/4 scale Jubilee Wolfpax resin kit that I just finished painting up for a friend of mine. Now, this was printed and casted by Ownage. It's a very good kit. I did a garage kit review on a while back. It does come with 3 heads, but we only did 2. He didn't want the 3rd one done. Basically, it's straightforward. There really wasn't any issues of the kit, like any casting issues. The only issue that well, there's actually 2 issues that I came up with, but we kind of rectified it the best way we could. So her right hand goes on her hip here. And basically what I had to do is he asked me to kind of chisel out the cape and see if I could get the hand closer to her hip, which I did. Because before, it was coming out really far. And I think right now what's going on is it's not pushed in all the way. There we go. See? So I pushed it in as far as I could. And I did some ease work and stuff. So it was not coming out. Before, you would see her hand like way above her hip. But now, I got it as close as I possibly could. After that, the only other problem was her feet. The way this was casted, her feet do not line up on the base at all. As much as I tried to kind of wiggle it and attach everything, it wasn't working. So I had to come up with added a new peg into her back left foot for a square, because that peg actually came out, the round one, and it's just like, there's something wrong with the casting. Like, one foot is not flat like the other one. Just something, I don't know what's going on with it, but I did the best I could. So there's a tiny bit of wobble to her to the base if you move her, but I fixed it to the point where she wasn't wobbling like crazy before. But other than that, pretty much straightforward, and I got everything together pretty well. So we'll kind of go over everything. So as far as the flesh tones go, I went ahead and I mixed up a nice flesh tone batch. One of the things I don't like about this kit is there's too much of an over texture on her skin. Like, there's too much texture. I understand, like, a lot of people like to add textures to a lot of this 3D sculpting now, but this skin is too texturized. It's just overdone. So that's the only thing I didn't like about it, because I would rather paint the skin flat and come up with my own blends than to try to work a crazy texture thing. Because you can kind of see it in her knees more and her legs more than anything. So I don't know if it's showing up in the camera, but there's just a crazy texture in there. And actually, to sit there and sand that all down wouldn't really work, because you can smooth out her legs and arms, but the face, if you tried to smooth down the face, you might lose some detail. So it's just one of those things we had to kind of run with it. So that's just one of the downsides of the sculpt I didn't like. Other than that, I think the sculpt is fine. The sculpt looks great. It screams, you know, Jubilee from 90s X-Men, Jim Lee stuff. It's pretty much a great sculpt, and I like it. It's just that texture is just killing the skin for me. But other than that, I think it works out pretty well. So, as far as everything else, now her goggles, they are wrapped in vinyl wrapping. So instead of painting the goggles, actually there's 3 goggles, but 2 of them we did vinyl wrapping. I'll show the pink one in a bit down here. We got a pink one, and then over here on the piece I did a painted one. But we'll go over that a little bit later. So as far as her outfit, so this piece, my friend really wanted it like a fluorescent, like crazy 80s, 90s, you know, like pink. So I had a Vallejo Mecha fluorescent pink, I think it was. I forget what color it was. So it's a very like translucent paint. So you have to layer it. So I did a lot of layering and stuff, and I got her a really bright pink, which he loves. And then I asked him, I said, when we do the jeans, we probably should do a breaking it up, not having like these crazy bright blue jeans stuff that you kind of see some people do, or you see in like cartoons. So I said, with her having blue gloves and blue boots, and her one hand is on there, we should kind of give her a little bit more of a realistic jeans look. So we went more with a grayish blue and made it look a little bit more realistic, because there's a texture on these jeans, so we might as well bring out that texture and make them look a little bit realistic. And I think it works pretty well, because when you see her hand on her hip, you can see the glove. It's not losing it, because if you did the same blue on the jeans with the gloves and the boots, you would just lose that hand. So now the hand actually still jumps out at you, which is good. Other than that, you know, your typical X base, you know, black stuff. There's a little bit extra in the base. We'll go over that in a second or two. Now, I don't know about you guys, but yellow is probably the worst color paint to paint. It is just a nightmare to paint it, and it's a pain in the ass. So what my friend wanted to do was give her a shiny raincoat type of jacket. So instead of just doing bright yellow, like a lemon yellow, and just slapping it on there and glossing it, what I did is I mixed up a yellow, which was kind of not lemon yellow, but there is some lemon yellow, but there isn't. Because sometimes when you paint lemon yellow, even on other colors, you lose it. It's just yellow's a pain in the ass. So I wanted it to make it look like there's a lot of colors in here, but make it look, like it's flowing and give it some life. So you can see what I did is I put some browns and oranges in there. Not really brown, it was more of a raw sienna, which is kind of like a yellowish brown. And I put that in there, and I did some dry brushing, and then I layered it, and I did more dry brushing. I added some lemon yellows and highlights here and there, and I think it worked out pretty well. And then I glossed it all up. And then for the jacket, instead of having all those gold everywhere, like the buttons on her shirt, what I did is I did like gunmetal, basically. So there's gunmetal rivets, and the belt buckle, and then the buttons over in here. Now, instead of doing everything just gloss, my friend wanted to change it up and stuff. So what we did is the inside of her jacket is actually a matted yellow. It's not gloss. Because if you look at her cuffs, which might be hard to see in the camera, you can see her cuffs are flat because they're rolled up, but it's still yellow. So it's almost like some raincoats, like the outside is kind of like a shiny, something to repel the water, but sometimes the inside is kind of like a flatter color. So that's kind of what we did. So instead of making it like white or doing something else, we kept it yellow, but a different hint of yellow, and ran with it that way. So it's hard to see, but it's there, But all in all, it's a really great sculpt. The bubble gum is probably usually always the favorite. So the goggles can be swapped out each head, so they're not actually glued in. They're just kind of a pain in the ass because we added vinyl to them. But it works. Hair rings are a pain in the ass, but I got those to work as well. So let's go on to the other head, and I'll kind of explain and show you guys how this kind of worked out. So these heads, like I said, there is a third head, but he only wanted 2 painted up because he said he'll never be swapping these in and out. So basically you can see the vinyl in here. So when you turn it, you get these really cool look to it. So it's kind of hard to paint like that, but the vinyl works. Now it took me about 10 tries to get the vinyl working. So I had to learn how to cut the vinyl. I learned where to cut it, where to wrap it underneath and stuff. So it's not very pretty underneath there, but you're not really going to see it. And then basically I gave her a nice, paint up and everything. I think the only thing is I didn't really gloss up her lips too much because I didn't really want her to look too crazy, but I might have to do a little bit extra layer of gloss on these lips because they're not really showing too well on the camera. So maybe I'll have to do just a quick layer and stuff. But the earrings, they came there, I painted them up, and then I added these little gold hoops to them because it came with hoops that were already primed, but I had these in my box of parts, so that worked out pretty well there. Now on to the third goggles, which was pretty cool to do. So he wanted to take this one and actually make it a clear goggle. So what I did is I mixed up a batch of Badger magenta with some watered down colors and blow dryer, and I had to do a couple layers, and I got these goggles tinted. And then what I did is I used a stencil, and we captured that like 90s cartoon where you see that like lines in there, but with those lines what we did is we did an interference bluish with a mix with a pearl white, so you can see the line pops in at times, but then it goes away. Maybe it kind of show you a little bit over there, a little bit more, and then a little bit of a blue trim. So instead of painting it flat, we kept it clear, but those goggle pieces now have that line, but it kind of pops when you see it in certain light. So it's something a little bit different, because I was showing a couple of paint-ups where people did it where they did it all flat, but we went with clear on those. So we got 3 goggles, each one is different, and it works out pretty well. All in all, that's pretty much it, except for the last thing is the base. So let's kind of put the camera up here, and maybe I can see what I'm doing because I'm holding the tripod. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but in those little triangles, there's some more vinyl stickers that are actually like clear fireworks. So after everything was painted up, what I did is I had to kind of cut out those triangles and put them in there, and it's a little bit of a firework pop to those triangles. So it's something a little bit different. Nothing too crazy, but it's just a little bit of an extra touch for her, which kind of is cool. Of course, you know, my friend wanted to go all out. He's a big, huge Jim Lee X-Men fan, which I think Jim Lee's kind of overrated, and I'm sick of seeing all of it, but I didn't mind painting it up for him, and it was fun to paint up. So there you go. That is Jim Lee Wolfpax Jubilee. Pretty much nothing else to it other than that. Great sculpt. I mean, this right here is something these companies should have made ages ago for like Sideshow or XM, Prime 1 or whatever. I mean, just make the Jim Lee X-Men line and it'll sell like crazy. Everybody wants it. That's the thing. And I don't know what's taking them so long. But all in all, that's it. So my personal opinion aside, great sculpt. A few things that sucked on it. But other than that, it was a lot of fun to paint up. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.